What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best 10 brawlers in the game right now. So it's been nearly a month since we've done a tier list and a best 10 brawlers video. Normally around this time there are balance changes, but there isn't actually too much going on in terms of the meta. So I thought I'll do a highlight of the brawlers that are really strong right now. Some of them you probably know are pretty strong, but there's some surprising ones as well in the top 10. So without further ado, let's jump into it then. So at number 10, I went with Cordelius. So even though he received some nerfs a couple of months ago, I think he's still easily in and around the top 10. The reason why Cordelius is just so good, he's one of the best counter pick brawlers in the game. He easily counters all of the hyper charge brawlers. He's really good against throws with the jump gadget and just really good against any aggression. He can defend in a lot of key areas. He's really good in heist, really good in Brawl, really good in just clutch situations, and his hyper charge of course automatically charges with his charging circle. There's just so many good things about Cordelius, and he's easily a top 10 brawler. So now jumping into the 9th best brawler in the game right now, I went with Gene. So even though he's not the hard carry brawler, I think ever since his hyper charge was introduced, it just allowed him to dominate in the game modes he was already strong in. To knockout and bounty, he started to fall out of the meta a little bit a couple of months ago because of other sharpshooters getting damage buffs, but then he's creeped back in, and then the hyper charge as well. You might only get it one time a game, but that can be the difference maker, especially in knockout, especially get it in like the 3rd round of knockout. You can pretty much win every single time, because if you're a bad Gene player like myself and I can't hit Gene pulls, the hyper charge, surely you can hit it, the hyper charge pull, right? Surely one of those pulls are going to hit something on the map. That can definitely change the game. He's also one of the best gem carries in gem grab right now. Really good with the vision gear. His mythic gear allows him to hit pulls at longer range as well. And he's actually a pretty decent damage dealer, especially if you put on the spirit slap star power. So for me, I think Gene's always going to be really strong in the meta. So now jumping into the 8th best brawler in the game right now, I went with Charlie. So it seems no matter how we nerf her, she still just rises from the dead and becomes a top 10 brawler in the game. I think just fundamentally she's broken. The super is just way too strong, especially for a game like Brawl Stars. Just putting someone into the cocoon and they can't move, I think it's fundamentally broken. I think something has to change about the super surely, but at the same time maybe we can look at different ways to nerf her. I mean, they really tried it with the range nerf. I thought that would not kill her, but definitely make her like a B tier brawler. She's still pretty much an S tier brawler. She just shuts down and hyper counters so many meta brawlers in the game right now. She's got a busted gadget as well, the hyper charge on top of it. There's just so many good things about Charlie. She's good into pretty much everything, and there's not really many hard counters out there, so Charlie is still going to be one of the best brawlers in the game. So now jumping into the 7th best brawler in the game right now, we went with Amber. So a lot of people might not agree with this one, but trust me, in competitive, Amber is a force. Even since she received that damage nerf not too long ago, people thought that would kind of put her towards the B tier again, but Amber's always underappreciated by the casuals. So in terms of pro play, she's in the top 5 in terms of ban and picks in the recent monthly finals, going to show that the pros really value Amber, but she's not really banned out too much. People don't think she's toxic. There are counters out there, but at the same time, the best thing about her is that she's so flexible with the build, and especially for 2 gadgets. You've got fire starters on more long range maps, or if you're facing off against longer range brawlers, and then if you're facing off against any type of aggro, or there's a lot of walls on the map, Dancing Flames is just such a broken gadget. You can just delete people so quickly. And again, Amber's just super versatile. She's even being used on bounty and knockout at the moment. Of course, her better game is going to be Brawl, Hot Zone, and Gem Grab, but just everything about Amber right now, she just shreds everything. Hardly any bad matchups. She's just so good in this meta. So now jumping into the 6th best brawler in the game right now, we still have Byron. So things haven't changed with Byron ever since he received that damage buff, which was actually huge. I think it was like 2 months ago. That just made Byron such a strong character, and I feel people just underrated him for the longest time. The reason being is because Byron always has the obvious counters, so his win rate in monthly finals wasn't the best, but he was still picked and banned as 7th most, so going to show the pros really value him. The reason why he's so good, he does a lot of damage or healing. His main attack's really easy to hit, whether it's on the opponents or your teammates. His super is really versatile. You can use it really aggressively to throw it over walls to finish off opponents, or if you just want to be annoying with a melee style power, and especially on those tankier units, you're going to get a lot of value out of that. You've also just got the fact that you can heal and deal damage with your super at the same time. Just so much value with Byron. Of course, he's super versatile, and he synergizes with pretty much everything, seeing as he can be a good damage dealer, he can be a good healer. You can look at every single game mode, every single map, and you can easily go a Byron. So now moving into the best 5 brawlers in the game right now, starting off with Nita. So the only way to counter Nita in this meta is to literally use wall breakers. If it's a good Nita map, she's just going to be a menace all of her time. The reason why she's so broken, it takes 2 supers to get your hypercharge super, which is crazy because, again, all you need with Nita is 1 Bruce Bear. You cycle through to your next Bruce Bear, and you've got a hypercharge bear that just runs at the opponent's 10k HP. It may not really deal damage to the opponents, but it wastes so much ammo and just forces them all the way back into spawn. Again, the biggest problem with Nita is the maps. You know, on the longer range maps, it's really hard for Nita to actually get her super, but there's a few maps in the game, especially in competitive, where she just dominates so easily. Sneaky Field, Center Stage, for example. Any grassy map she's going to be really strong on. And like I said, the only way to counter her is by opening up the map. So now jumping into the 4th best brawler in the game right now, we still have Max. So Max's hypercharge is just so busted. The pros have really learned how to utilize this hypercharge really effectively. Essentially, when you use this Max hypercharge, you could actually, all 3 of you stand in the same spot, and you'll get 75% charge to your super, which is crazy. So that means you could actually cycle through to another Max hypercharge, and this means infinite supers, infinite speeds. And of course, the thing about Max, you can literally play her everywhere. She's not always going to be this like super hard carry brawler in herself. She's more of a support brawler, but the speeds, the constant just aggression is just too much for the opponents, especially in competitive play. She was like the 4th most banned pick brawler, and she had a good win rate. Again, you can literally use her anywhere. She counters all of the sharpshooters, and there's just hardly any ways to truly shut down a Max, especially if they're good at juking and whatever else. They're always going to be a threat on the map. So now jumping into the 3rd best brawler in the game right now, we still have Sandy. So nothing has changed with Sandy. The hypercharge is still completely busted, and you get the hypercharge before your 2nd super, which is just absolutely crazy. The hypercharge super lingers for 10 seconds as well as soon as you activate it. The speed boost that you and your teammates can get is insane, and you can also use it to quickly counter those aggressive brawlers that are close to you. There's just so much play around this hypercharge. It's insane. Of course, with Sandy, whenever Sandy's meta is really toxic, the super is one of the best in the game. So right now, pretty much, again, the only way to counter Sandy is on the longer range maps, is to pinch Sandy and not allow him to get super. But on the maps that Sandy are good on, Sneaky Field, Center Stage, any grassy map, any map with a lot of walls, they're just going to completely dominate. There's pretty much no way to counter a Sandy. So now jumping into the 2nd best brawler in the game right now, I went with Melodie. Of course, she's still absolutely crazy broken right now. And it's the fact that people thought she wasn't even going to be strong upon release. I'm astounded how people didn't think this brawler was going to be as strong as she is. Of course, she's busted on heists. She's literally busted everywhere. The only thing that really counters her is grassy maps, because the notes will actually reveal her position in the bushes. But not only that, she doesn't have the DPS to deal with tanks, so that's the only way I've seen her not being used in competitive. Everywhere else, Melodie is just absolutely insane. Every scenario you can pretty much use her. She's really good against the squishy brawlers, and it's just the pressure alone with the 3 dashes that you get is busted. I think without some glitches as well, should be even better. There's a few glitches that make her a little bit worse, but overall, she's still busted. Nothing's changed. So now jumping into the best brawler in the game right now, I went with Angelo. In terms of the stats, he was the most played and banned brawler easily in monthly finals. And again, in ranked, he's the brawler that I find most annoying. He's the one that I can't seem to counter. If you want to counter Angelo, you either just got to run away when he has super, which in itself is just kind of dumb logic because you're just giving him full map control. It's the only way you can really deal with it because of the amount of damage he can deal, or you just need literally 3 of the right brawlers to run it down against him, and still he can cycle supers, keep himself alive with the healing really easily. He's got a gadget to jump away, and pretty much you can use him everywhere. Again, the only way that he's not usable is on grassier maps because he just doesn't have the DPS to really deal with it, but at the same time you can still probably get away with playing Angelo as long as you've got some decent tank counters within your composition. So yeah, he's one brawler I pretty much struggle countering every single time. A good Angelo will absolutely dominate, and there's just so many good maps for him in the map pool. He's just still busted. Like, come on, we need some nerfs for Angelo right now. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.